Welcome to the You Are a Force podcast channel, your go-to space for real stories, fearless dreams, and unstoppable women rewriting the rules. And the force behind this podcast. Here is your host, Binoli Botadara.
Hi everyone, welcome to You Are a Force, the podcast where we celebrate women who just don't live history, they actually write it. I'm your host Binoli Botadara, and today's guest absolutely needs no introduction, but yet she deserves one, just as bold and as unapologetic as her pen. She's a genre of herself. She's a model, copywriter, journalist, socialite, scriptwriter, and a gifted artist and an athlete, but a diehard fan of Elvis Presley, and who has practically invented English before actually Netflix, subtitles got it. By age of 23, she was a founder and a columnist of Stardust. Since then, she's authored 28 bestsellers and 17 novels out of that, and 4 of which actually are getting studied at the University of London, inspiring more than 100 academic dissertations, and even launched her own imprint at Penguin. Her latest book is going to be out in October 25, which is called Sensual Self, which I can't wait to read. But she's a recipient of multiple awards for her contribution in literature and journalism. And she has redefined what it means to be a modern Indian woman, giving generations of readers courage to be bold and unapologetic. And that itself is a huge, huge, huge compliment. At 77, she is not chasing fame, she's chasing life in all its messy, dazzling, and limitless glory. And a whirlwind of wit, style, and sheer audacity, she turns every room, every page, and every conversation in the symphony of intellect, audacity, and charm. And she is my favorite. And so please welcome none other than bold, brilliant, and utterly fearless, incomparable Shobhaa. Shobhaa, thank you so much. But in the words of Amitav Ghosh, you are a national treasure. So it is my honor, literally, to welcome you on Your Force. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Looking forward to our conversation.
Likewise. And I want to start with something very personal. So when I thought of this podcast, a friend of mine asked me that who are the dream people you want to have it on your podcast? And I had this. I don't know if you can see the screen.
I can. Of course I can. Oh, yes, I can see myself in the
top.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So these are the 12 faces I want to have eventually. So thank you for making my dream come true. And also, my mother's name is Shobhaa. She's often referred as Shobhaa. So so I think you have a very special place in my heart. So I can't wait to dive into the world of Shobhaa and someone who I've admired and adored from a childhood. So this is my pinch me moment. So I'm going to hit the rewind and let's go back to the beginning. Before the novels, before the modeling, and before the fame, you were a competitive athlete, and as I mentioned, the diehard Elvis Presley fan. So did you ever imagine that you would become a brand one day when you were growing up, or you were just chasing your dreams and everything else is a byproduct?
The word brand itself has connotations that I don't like at all. I don't consider myself a brand. I am just a woman who is living her life on her own terms, which I've always done. And life takes its turns and you go along with what those turns, the opportunities that come your way, try and do your very best. One step at a time, 1 mile at a time. The athletics background always serves me well because it made me aware of team spirit, of winning, of staying fit and competing, which is not such an ugly word. But no. I have my reservations, and people who actually say that without cringing, that I am a brand and this is my brand value. Well, why not? Good for them, but I'm not one of those.
I love that. I love that because I think what you said is very, very critical to your personality, that the way you rise after every fall, actually a sportsman can only, or a sports person can actually have that inbuilt in their DNA. But at the age of 17, Shobha, you stepped into a glittering, image conscious world of modeling, which is actually far away from the intellect or intellectual side of the world. So, how those 5 years when you were modeling, where it was all about glamour, what did it teach you? And did you, you were not like a born model or anything. So, what did you learn about people from that experience of 5 years?
It was an invaluable experience. I will never regret those 5 years. It taught me one hell of a lot. And it's not such a vacuous world. So the cliches about it being a world without intellect is it's misrepresenting a very important industry, which lives up to a lot of people's aspirations and fantasies and dreams. The fashion industry itself, the beauty industry itself, and both combined are billion-dollar industries across the world. When I started modeling, I had my dreams, but mainly it was to earn my own living.
Sure.
And at 17, when you are still a student, the options are kind of limited. Where do you go to earn pocket money where you don't have to reach out to your parents and ask them to finance your, well, it could be something very small, like a snack in a restaurant or
Yeah.
going to the hairdressers for a nice haircut. So that was what actually modeling did tell me. I had my own income. At age
That's
17,
so
I continued
empowering.
to earn that. Independence,
Yes.
financial independence. And without that, I think any woman who tries to talk about empowerment, female empowerment, is wasting her time, because unless you have an income to match your independent spirit, it makes no zero sense. The world of glamour, it was definitely something that was part of the job I had chosen to do, and the travel that it included, the kind of people that one met. It taught you poise and confidence. It taught you how to present yourself to the world. There were many, many lessons. And the takeaways from modeling, if there's anyone out there who's thinking of it as a stopgap career, I would strongly recommend it, because it really does teach you a sense of self, and how to value that, to value on how you present yourself, how you look in public, and also, very importantly, how you maintain a certain fitness regime in order to be in the field and dominate the field as I did for 5 years. It teaches you basic hygiene. It teaches you how to live with people from across the world, across India, how to adapt to locations, situations, how to do your own makeup, how to do your own hair, something I still do even now.
I love that. And just to highlight on something which you very profoundly said, my mother always told me, I come from a business family and I'm a Gujarati, so girls in my community don't really, I mean, now times are changing, but they don't really study much, and you aspire to be someone's wife, I think most of the times. But my mom always told me that no matter who your father is, who your husband is, you got to be financially independent, because the choices in life will differ completely when you do not have to go and ask a penny to anyone. And
Absolutely. But I'm surprised. I'm surprised to hear you say that girls from your background and community are not encouraged to educate themselves very much, and that their end goal in 2025 is to find a husband and get married and run their homes. That is a very depressing
it
revelation, I
is.
have to say.
I'm not married. I'm still single, and everyone around me is sorry for me, to be very honest, because everyone's like, "Oh my God, I've like lost so much in life, and I'm such a loser that I'm still single. I should just compromise and find anyone." I mean, I don't have children, so oh my God, like, how do you not want to be a mother? It's such a fulfilling thing. And oh my God. And all my friends are married around me, and most of them are in unhappy marriages. Most of them, okay? But to the public eye, everyone feels, oh my God, it's a perfect marriage, and they're so happy. It's a picture perfect children and whatever.
But
And I'm
we're
like,
talking 2025. I'm
it's
just
sad.
astonished, aghast. I think you should just come relocate and live in Mumbai, because you'll find just there are thousands and thousands of young women like yourself who have
No, but I'm
chosen
too.
to.
I'm talking about, so I moved to London just 5 years ago. So I'm talking about these people from Ahmedabad
Delhi,
predominantly.
Ahmedabad,
Yes, so I'm born and brought
Gujarati
up in Ahmedabad.
background.
Yes, yes.
Right,
So I'm born and brought up in Ahmedabad, but I lived in Bombay for 10 years from 2011 to 2021, and
right.
2020 end I moved to London. So this entire thing in Bombay, it was very, no one cared if I was married or unmarried and if whatever my aspirations are. But in Ahmedabad, it does matter. Even today, when I talk to people, when I go back home, they don't really care about my London Business School education or how great I'm doing in my career. All they're like, in Gujarati, koi chokro malyo, LBS mein padna madyo, London mein padna madyo. And that's the whole conversation. And
The
I'm like,
obsession is only about Chokro Malyo.
yes,
Yeah,
and
what?
obsession is about, because no matter how good you are in whatever you do, till the time you're not married, you're not complete and you're lacking something desperately. And I'm like, and my parents actually, I'm very blessed to have parents who did not push me into that one corner. They always told me that no matter, you have to be 100% sure. And my mother always said that even if you'll not get married, it doesn't matter to me. Just
Are
be
you the
happy.
only child living with your parents?
I have a younger brother who lives with my parents, but I live in London and I work here.
All right. So you're already forging an independent life for yourself, right?
Yes. But it's very unheard of in my circle, and when I moved from Ahmedabad to Bombay, and I come from a business family, and everyone's like, why do you want to go to Bombay? Why can't you do a job here? And then when I've decided to study, it's my second master's I did in 2021 at London Business School. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
why do you want to study now? Like, what's wrong with you? So, so I have been doing a lot of things which is not written in the rule book, but I'm loving it
Oh,
and
I'm
no
so
regrets.
glad because I'm just surprised. Maybe you need to change the circles you move in Ahmedabad because I know a lot of incredible people in Ahmedabad, a lot of families where they've encouraged their daughters to go ahead and make their lives regardless. When the Sarabhai is like a Malika Sarabhai family, for example.
I know her really well. Uh,
So, yeah, so I don't think she's
she,
ever conformed or
no,
cared.
no, but
So
but
I'm
you know
sure there
that.
are many more.
So I know her well, and I used to go to Darpana for
Yeah.
dances as well. And her next door neighbor is also my friend because they're all relatives. But very handful people like this. And also, when you see from outside, they would all project. I'm not saying everyone's evil, okay? My parents are not like that. And there are a lot of people around me are not like that. But majority people actually paint with the same stroke. And I have been victim on the other side. Like everyone's like, sorry, you go to the weddings. And I was like, oh my God, when are you getting married? Now you've crossed this age and you will not find anyone. Don't make so much money. Who will marry you? Literally, the marriage bureau aunties
You
are.
should just say that they'll marry me for my money and my beauty, so don't worry about it.
I know, I know. I was like, I'm a high maintenance, so he can't, sponsor my lifestyle, so I have to sponsor. So, but yeah, they're really, really, and times are changing. Girls are obviously getting more independent, but I still have that experience when I go back and people feel sorry for me. So,
Oh dear.
uh, yes, but
Time for you to make them feel sorry for themselves. And that's not that difficult when you're talking to moronic.
touche, touche.
Yeah.
So, Shobha, you from modeling, you became a founder and editor at Stardust, right? And you went from being observed to being an observer. So, how was it? And which actually, which is so interesting that it took actually the elite of India really in a different way, because you sparked that idea to write, and the stories you actually told were very different and very unheard of. So how was that experience? And then you hang around with those people. So then how was it socially? Was it awkward?
Well, I've been asked that in the past, and I'm very cold-blooded about my choices as a professional. If I am a professional writer, journalist, editor, I don't want to make any concessions. I do not make any concessions. You want to be a friend of mine, then you know what I do, you know what the risks are. well, not that I'm going to be spilling their secrets because that's not professional. But if what I write makes them, for whatever reason, uncomfortable, the content of what I write or what I stand for, it's entirely their option to unfriend me. It makes no difference to my life. I don't set standards for myself based on other people's standards. Neither do I bother very much how I'm viewed or judged. I do what I think I need to do to be the person I am, and that's about it. It's not rocket science. It's just me. It's authenticity, and I value that above all else.
I love that. And Shobhaa, publishing has long been accused of treating women writers as a second-class citizens, and there is always a bias. And I have actually, we all can agree that they say that nobody reads women's book, but you have actually written 28 books and then sold millions of copies. But yes, the studies actually show that women authors do not get actually the fair share of their dues, because one study at Guardian actually showed that J.K. Rowling actually dropped her name from Joanne and her sales actually skyrocketed. So if only a man could do like a global bestseller, right? I mean, that's what the perception is. So did you face any such kind of biases in pay or publishing or in any other way how your work was perceived?
I don't have a hard luck story to sell, so it's a bit difficult to spin a tale around how I suffered and I couldn't get a break because my very first book was a commissioned book. But yes, the publisher and editor did tell me that there was no market for women's voices, but that was more than 35 years ago.
Sure.
Things have changed qualitatively, substantially, and today women's voices, particularly from the subcontinent, are being heard loud and clear and paid attention to. Women are no longer invisible, and that's a very big thing. They are seen, they're heard, and the very fact that the Booker winner this year was a lady from Karnataka who, Banu Mushtaq, and before that, Tombs of Sand had also made huge international waves. These are all women from the subcontinent. Arundhati Roy's new book is out. That's also generating a lot of interest. And there are young voices out there of women across India and across the world, possibly, but I can only speak about the subcontinent because the subcontinent interests me much more. There's Avni Desai, there's Kiran Desai. I mean, there are a lot of women who are doing extremely well on their own terms. Things have changed and are changing. So J.K. Rowling really shouldn't be complaining at all because she's made herself a millionaire many times over. So it was a good business decision which has paid off. But whether other women would want to do that, I would never want to assume a male identity, no matter what the commercial upside of that could be. I'm very, very proud to be a woman. I'm very proud that my voice is very female. And I do not want to occupy a male persona or a male skin, no matter how attractive the deal on the table may be to make that happen.
And more power to you for that, and you have actually portrayed in your novels also very unapologetic, women who have full of desires and dreams, and they have their own voices. But you have always portrayed yourself as a middle-class Maharashtrian girl from Satara. And I want to actually know that the way you depict women and the way you are, is it because you have tasted the freedom, or you want you feel that every woman should also deserve that, or while growing up you were suppressed, maybe because in 50s or 60s? So what's the source of actually motivation to write, where to showcase what you do?
Well, like I said to you earlier, I don't have a tragic backstory to peddle to the public. I grew up in an extremely progressive environment, a very secure emotional environment.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, yes, were conservative, and yes, they were middle class, and that's been my backbone, that's been my spine.
Sure.
That is what has given me the strength to carry on and be the kind of person I wanted to be, I chose to, without apology. Mm, Did I face some kind of an existential crisis about my identity? Absolutely not. I did. Did I have to assert myself within my family context? Yes, I did. But it wasn't a kind of militant agitation to defy something that was very oppressive or uh, diktats that were imposed on me. Far from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my parents weren't always in sync with what I wished to write or
Sure.
what I wished to do with my life, my career choices. But that's okay. Did I have to face incredible odds in order to get ahead? Absolutely not. Did they back me? Yes, they did. So it would be extremely unfair to paint them in some terrible light and say, oh, back then in the 60s and 70s, girls like myself were suppressed and oppressed and repressed and maybe depressed. That's not my story. I saw a lot of it around me, but it was never something that kept me down.
Wow. I think sometimes, we are the product of our parents, right? Not sometimes, I think all the time. But I think, yeah, you absolutely nailed it. I mean, sometimes you just get lucky to be born in that household as well. But Shobha, you have met who's who in the world, from Princess Kate to Oprah to the PMs, and you've, networked or moved in circles around elites. So was there ever a moment where you were genuinely starstruck and you were like, oh my God, this person is so different compared to their PR image? And tell us like one of those non-Instagrammable moments, if you can.
Well, small correction, it wasn't Princess Kate, it was actually King Camilla.
Okay.
Queen Camilla, well, King. That was a which I'll let it go. Uh, yeah, it's a Freudian slip. Um, no, I have met incredible people from across the world, but my one starstruck moment, and I'd say that's possibly the only one where I was just, I didn't know it was like being in the presence of someone just beyond my level of admiration or I was awestruck, fascinated, and just dying to fall at his feet, and that was Michael Jackson. When he
Really?
came to India, when he performed in India, because his music, what he represented, who he was, his beauty, his grace, his performance, his professionalism, everything about him was so supercharged, so charismatic. I was, I jumped over low hedges at a dinner wearing a Dhakai sari and challenged his bodyguards to not give me access to him, which even they didn't know what to do with this Indian woman who was so
I can't
bold.
believe it.
I did that. I didn't care. I said, this is going to be the only moment I'm going to be him. So I'm not going to let it go
What
because
did
I'm
you tell
not
him?
trying. I just told him, that I just completely and totally adored and loved him. And as he did with every single person who met him, his kindness in his eyes, and he always whispered, I love you too. And at that moment, you believe it.
Oh
He
my
said it
God.
to every person who met him in a very beautiful way.
Yeah.
I would say Bill Clinton was again a very charismatic person in person when his uh, the way he connects with human beings, every single person at that moment when you're talking to Bill Clinton, and he was president at the time, you feel there's no other person exists in the world but you. And whether it's a child or it's the waiting staff in a hotel, it's a man, it's a woman, irrespective of age, that's true charisma. When people make the other person feel good. Well, Oprah Winfrey didn't do that to me. She was interested enough, but the interest level was because she was uh, researching her show. She was looking for people she'd want to come on to make her show look good when she was in Bombay. That's very different. That's kind of manipulative and cold-blooded. So, no.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, offhand, these are the people I can think of. Imran Khan had an incredible uh, personality, and the way he spoke, his voice, his success, his good looks. I can understand why a lot of people, a lot of ladies went weak in the knees. Probably they still do. I would say Salman Rushdie definitely because of being Salman Rushdie and because of who he is. Uh, that's that's a lot of people there already.
But I love that. And the one common thing is that, what people tell you doesn't really matter in that moment, but how they make you feel has a lasting impact, isn't it? And then even today,
Always.
when you were talking about Michael Jackson, your eyes actually lit up. So I could imagine
It's so
that.
vivid that moment. I'll never forget it
I was
because I
about to
was
say that.
awestruck by his performance. Where um, at he must have been perhaps in his early 30s at the time, maybe or late 20s, and he performed on stage back to back something like over 20 numbers.
Wow.
Not once going backstage. If he was changing, he was doing it on stage. He was removing his jacket or changing his jacket, running up and down the length of the stage, down those ramps with all the other special effects, with all his backup dancers. And I said, here is a person who values himself enough as a professional and as an international star, uh,
Mm,
not to let himself and his fans down by
mm,
giving it his 110%. I
yeah.
valued that. I heard Andrea Bocelli also at a concert in Mumbai. I heard Mick Jagger, and he was again like Michael Jackson, but he did go off stage a few times. And by the time I actually watched him perform, and it was fantastic that he must have been 60 plus,
Mm.
but tireless and just amazing. When he played Satisfaction, that's a moment I'll never ever
Mm.
forget.
And that differentiates, them compared to all other artists.
They're in a class apart. They are true
100%.
professionals. And that's
100%.
why Mick Jagger is still around in his 80s and still a rock star, still performing.
Yeah, yeah, and how.
Yeah.
Um, and Shobha, from all these beautiful moments in the public eye and in your personal, but there are some shadows where, it would feel like a personal hell sometimes for how you speak, what you speak. So can you tell us one of those moments? At that time, it felt like it was a disaster, but then it turned out to be the biggest blessing.
I can't think of something that was a total disaster, quite honestly, because in my choices, uh, I'm not exactly Joan of Arc, or I'm not a martyr kind of a woman, and neither am I Jhansi Ki Rani. So it's not that I'll go there and say I'll face a firing squad if I need to, but or I'll pick up a talwar and take on my enemies. I write what I do with a lot of conviction.
Yeah.
If that leads to all sorts of cases in the courts, if it leads to people coming to my doorstep, mainly hired goons and gundas of political parties, threatening me with all kinds of actions and to humiliate me in public. And uh, I can take them on very easily because I'm not afraid of bullies. And most of these people are bullies. The minute you confront them, they back off. That's been my experience. So it's not nothing that I feel I have any regrets about. That was such a big disaster from through which I didn't reform or change my ways because of those encounters. It's only
Mm,
made me feel stronger that as someone who speaks up not just for myself but for the person like an average Mumbaikar or people, citizens who may not have a platform or a voice, I owe that much to myself and to my readers and to my audience to not back off and retreat into a quiet corner and apologize because I've done nothing that I'm ashamed of. That needs to be. Uh, I need to be chastised by goons, semi-literate rowdies and gundas who dare to threaten them. I will threaten them right back by confronting.
I mean, seriously, it's easier said than done. I don't know what bones you have in your body to actually do this because, I was watching recently your post on Azad Maidan, the recent, issues in Bombay when they were actually, on the
Out
roads.
there. Yeah,
And you literally went out and you actually
of course.
covered as a reporter. And I was
Yes.
feeling that Shobha, please don't go because they might attack you. So I
No,
don't know.
I've been in far, far more threatening situations when Mumbai has been held to ransom by various political parties, with rioting on the streets, when there being public protests against the South Indians in the city. I've been in literally in a crossfire on a bridge, stuck at Chin-Spokely Bridge, with two parties battling on either side of the bridge, hurling rocks and stones at each other when a bus is burning maybe 50 feet away. But at that moment, you don't think of anything else other than I don't know. It's the reporter in me. Now you can take the girl out of a journal, that kind of journalism. You can never take journalism out of her. It's always there, that instinct. I was like an observer. I was watching all this almost like an out of body experience. Not once did I think, oh, one of those rocks could actually hit my head and kill me. I was there. I was stuck. There was little I could do, but wait for it to subside. And I did use my Maharashtrian and Marathi card when I did meet a policeman. The police were trying to break up the violence which was escalating. So I did go and speak to them in Marathi and say that I'm stuck and I need to be, escorted from here to some place where I can make my way home. There have been many such instances, many, countless. But
How do you,
nothing that I've regretted.
where do you get this fearlessness from? I really wish that. So my mother is pretty much like you,
Uh-huh.
and therefore, I genuinely think that I'm not even 1% of who she is, and therefore I don't know what drives her to be this way, and I want to know, so I can be like a sponge or at least take 1% of you, because this is beyond anyone's imagination what you have inherently.
I don't think so. I mean, each time people refer to me as fearless and courageous, and I keep wondering what are they even talking about? I mean, you do what your conscience tells you to do. That's not courage. That's just self-belief. So I was at a book launch yesterday where the lady was so afraid. She's a London-based author of Indian origin, and she's written a book which is, well, semi-provocative, I would imagine, but she's not really named anyone. She's talked in around situations and around uh, identifying the political parties that she has a problem with, her, her ideology being completely different. But if you're not going to be doing that, and even at your own book launch, you're requesting people not to wear saffron or yellow, but to turn up in blue, which is a neutral color, I think that's not terribly brave or convincing. That's kind of cowardly. You're copying out. Whereas you don't have to. I don't mean you should be extra provocative, but
Yeah,
if that is the topic of your book, then stand up for
you
that
can't shy
topic
away.
to believe in.
The
So you
last thing
can't
you
ask
should.
for guests to turn up wearing blue because a saffron might attract a certain kind of attention. But your book is about that.
Now, why did you write that book in the first place, if that was your
Why did I
concern?
like it?
No,
I
no,
did
I'm
not like.
saying, no,
Why
no,
did the
no.
person write it?
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. If you were
yeah.
so conscious about this, why did you write that book in the first place on that
In the
subject?
first, I would exactly. Another girlfriend of mine, a much younger person, has also written a very beautiful book, coming to terms with a lot of areas of her life that she's finally addressing through spirituality and through studies of the Vedas and Upanishads and so on. It's a terrific book, but she's chosen to call a very deep book by a strange name. She's named it after a fruit. It's called Tangerine. So I said, why would you call your book Tangerine? So she said, because I couldn't call it sack. I needed
saffron can be spice also, if not just the color. You can
exactly,
interpret the way you
exactly.
want. Yeah.
Yes. So
I,
I thought to myself, such a girl, so highly intelligent, motivated, studied at Princeton, lives a life of privilege, uh, a- and calls a book something which is so misleading for the average reader. They might think that it's a book of recipes because even the jacket is designed around fruits and vegetables and not what the contents are.
true.
So I just felt her editor should have been more assertive.
More
If I
cognizant,
were
yeah.
her editor, I would have said, sorry, this doesn't work. And let's take another look at a cover design or at least uh, get to the point. I mean, you want to make a point, this is hardly the way to make it.
My
You
God.
need that kind of, yes, you need that kind of commitment to what you write, what you do. And yes, I suppose to me, that's a lack of self belief and lack of courage when you resort to that. Like you said, or don't write the book,
Yeah.
or don't write columns where you're going to be told by the editor, we can't possibly run that because it's a bit uh, too in your face. But it's not in your face to me. They
Hmm.
mean they feel uh, at risk as
Yeah.
business people, as media houses, or they're not willing to take on the establishment or the system on any level because everyone, right now, every single person is playing it safe. And to me, the whole point of living in a democracy is that you have that voice. And our constitution guarantees us freedom of expression. So if you're going to be uh, so dhila about standing up for what you believe in, then it's best to do something else, which is much safer, like maybe grow flowers or take up dentistry.
Or paint.
Yeah,
But also, I think, Shobha, it boils down to the upbringing as well, because I'm very fortunate. My parents actually gave me voice at very early on. At dining table, every day you have to come back home and tell your, stories that what did you not like and what did you like. And my mom is a banker, dad has business, my brother, all of us would come and talk about one thing. And therefore, I am so not loud, but I think I don't keep a lot of things in my head and I say it out loud. And a lot of times, I'm not really celebrated for saying what I said. But my parents told me that no, just don't be someone else who you're not. And if not, then just don't go there, if you don't want to talk about it.
absolutely right.
So it's your
Yeah,
choice.
like, you have to choose your wars, you have to choose your friends. And I've done that very early in my life. And I have very few really close friends. I'm not a gregarious person. So I know who they are, and they're certainly not like minded. But
Mm.
dissent is such an important part of uh, acceptance and friendship. You can't always live in an chamber. I like to hear different voices, and we feel comfortable enough. We trust each other enough to be friends and continue to be friends over the last, some of them going back 4 decades,
Wow.
despite our differences, or maybe because of it.
Sure. Sure. And Shobha, you've been in the public domain for 53 years, and without a break, without skipping one deadline, you've been writing. And you write 6 columns in a month in a mainstream media. And you've also moved very effortly from long form columns or to being a powerhouse on Twitter, on Instagram, which everyone knows. So, in this world of instant reactions, validations, character limits, and also viral controversies, and you do movie reviews as well, and of course, your opinion on politics are celebrated worldwide. So, how has the social media reshaped the way you craft your satire and maybe observation and storytelling? If you can maybe give us some idea.
Well, social media is not going away anywhere. I got into social media pretty early, more than a lot of my colleagues took their time. And a lot of them, even now, say that they are not on social media by choice.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are fibbing because now it's too late for them to suddenly jump in. And it's not, social media, it comes with its own drawbacks. And if you can't hack that, Then if you're going to play it safe and say, I'd rather not be on it, it's an option I respect. But I feel that if you're a public figure and you have zero presence on social media, you do have things to share, you have things to say, whether you're a painter, an artist, a filmmaker, a politician, a sports person, whoever is doing whatever in the public domain, you're hiding under a rock by saying, no, but I don't wish to be on social media. You're trying to make it into some kind of snobbery, which it is not. Today, the entire world listens to very important voices and what they're sharing on X, or on their own platforms. And um, it's short-sighted to say that I'm not affected by it. I don't want to be on it. I'm perfectly comfortable with it, and from the word go, I had decided I would never ever respond to trolls or get into any kind of an engagement where it's tu meme and name calling.
No.
It's counterproductive. I do not engage with anonymity. These are Most of them are cowards. You have the bots, you have the troll armies. Why would I waste my energy?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're free to say what they want, react to me in whichever way they want, abuse me, my family, threaten me. It's really, really,
Maybe they're
I,
getting paid to do that. They're
they
getting
get
paid to do
paid to
that.
do it. But there may be those who actually totally believe what they're saying at that moment. And I still feel it's a social media, of course, with AI, that's going to change dramatically. It already has changed dramatically. And we have to be cognizant of these changes to be relevant, to accept change basically. And the rate at which change is taking place in the world, across the world, uh, unless you want to withdraw from your social environment, social realities, you have to be a part of the change. I'm very happy to be a part of change. It does not threaten me.
And
I
speaking of,
embrace change.
yeah, I think it's so boring to just be the same person and stagnate,
Yeah.
and not move with the time. But speaking of AI, Shobha, do you think that it's a threat to the writers' minds? Because AI can actually replicate a novel in like few seconds or write even sometimes better.
So what you asked me, you answered yourself. You said AI can replicate a novel, but can they create a novel out of? They cannot, because imagination is something, an intuition. AI can process a writer's work and come up with an outline for the next work, maybe, which sort of mimics what the writer may have done over the last 20 books. But can an entirely original idea emerge from AI? I don't believe it can. Can something, they can, AI will process your personality, will process all the information that's fed into it, into that huge big machine. But it cannot by itself, out of nowhere. That imagination is beyond AI. It's a gift. Intuition is a gift. A spiritual quest is a gift, which cannot be broken down into very rational thinking and explained in ways that are logical. So logic itself is AI can 100% get into that space. Can it get into the illogical space? Perhaps, but it will. It's like writing nonsense limericks or nonsense rhyme, and even that needs a certain originality.
True.
So, no, it's not a threat for me at all. I Not at all.
And I think
I think I'll always have it as a writer.
and I think it's also
I don't think I'm about to be rendered irrelevant or jobless because of AI.
no, definitely not. But I meant for the future generation of speakers. But you actually nailed it because I genuinely feel that AI doesn't have feelings or what humans can feel and write, and it doesn't have a need of that that human relationship, right? So I actually I was being cheeky and I asked one day, I was invited at BBC to speak about the importance of allyship. And while I was on the way, I asked ChatGPT, and this I'm talking about like a year ago, and I asked that, would you think of the ally? Do you require ally? And literally, I got the reply that I'm not a human being. I don't have the requirement like human beings do. And that was like literally was my opening statement there too, because I genuinely
Yeah.
thought that it was an eye-opening moment for me. That
Yes.
we're giving AI so much, but we're forgetting the basics, right? The feelings and the human touch and element.
Absolutely. The touchy-feely part of our lives, which is so critical to our sense of well-being, uh, simply cannot be, it cannot be recreated robotically, mechanically, intellectually.
True.
We are all safe.
And speaking of your writing, your next book is going to be out in October. So can you give us some snippets of what's going to be about? And like 50 Shades of Grey, any film adaptation on cards of any of your books?
There have been over the years lots of attempts to get me to sign up with producers and directors who come home, met me. But it's a world that I need to have confidence in the person who's approaching me with the book to film rights. Though I've now reached a stage where I've become detached enough to say, pay me a lot of money, take the book and do what you want with it. Because eventually that's really what they do. They once you give them the rights, it doesn't matter whether you sold it for X amount or X into 100. Uh, you've sold the rights to your own work
Sure.
for them to interpret it and represent it in any form they choose. And they know it best because it's a medium that is their medium. It's not my medium. And they would know how to make the book uh, film worthy. So all the writers I know who have taken that route have come away feeling so disenchanted, so disappointed by the way their book has been almost redesigned to suit cinema, which is a totally different medium.
Sure.
So I'm still not completely comfortable. Let's see what happens down the line. But I've written so extensively for television. That's a very different story. I've written so many soaps, like Swabhiman, which was such a breakthrough soap way back then, ran for 500 and more episodes. But that was then. Today's television, OTT, the requirements are very different. And I don't know that I want to put myself out there to conform to any of those.
So what your writing process like? Do you, whenever you get the idea, you pen it down, or you have a designated place or time, you actually go there and then you get into the zone?
I'm writing from everything in my life revolves around my dining table where I am right now speaking to
Okay.
my everything. It's the place is charged, I feel, by my own energy. All my
Wow.
books have been written at the dining table. All my columns are written from the dining table. All my ideas are noted. I journal from the dining table. So uh, to me, the dining table is a very sacred space. I love it. And yes, because I do journal every day, if there's some idea that I think is particularly attractive to me, I do make a note of it in that journal. And then I forget all about it, which happens all the time. If it comes back to me at some other point in my life, that's fine. But for example, the sensual self, since you asked me about the book, but I didn't get to talk about it. Uh, you can't explain where they emerge from. Uh, at some point, I just said to myself, talking to my children perhaps is one of the biggest creative fraud for me, because I get to speak to children, their age group, and their thinking, their ideas. And it's so important to connect to the young, to understand their world. I was looking at marriage and relationships through the eyes at that point of 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and in the Indian context, of course, because that's why I was surprised by what you said to me earlier, and how radically it has changed, that it does not begin and end in marriage for almost nobody that I know in Mumbai, young ladies, young women, or young men, think of marriage as a goal or as the ultimate where they want to reach. And then I thought how they're in the process also losing out on key aspects of relationships that endure with or without marriage. And one of those aspects is empathy and intuition and tenderness. And of course, the senses, all your senses. You could be sharing a meal with someone who you're not sexually attracted to, but it can be a meal that's very sensuous in terms of it's so tactile, it's the aromas of what you're eating. Maybe you're listening to a beautiful piece of music, a rag that is bringing back memories. And eroticism is a very important part, at least for me, and in even culturally in India, not often acknowledged, not given enough importance, but always celebrated through the centuries in temples,
Books,
books,
cultures.
sculptures, paintings, frescoes. It was kind of getting the young to go back to basics when it comes to relationship goals. It's not really about jumping into bed with the first stranger who attracts you, but if you want to build on something, what it needs, and it does need imagination, it does need a sense of making yourself and your partner feel wonderful, to feel calm and happy and beautiful, and whatever can contribute towards making your love making that much more pleasurable in every sense of the word. So it's a kind that goes back and forth across age groups, and it's not the Kama Sutra redone for the 21st century at all, but it does have a lot of, I would say, suggestions and valuable advice as an older person, having lived my life, to the younger generation, what they should maybe experience themselves, which I'm glad.
And just the reason I mentioned about the people around me in Ahmedabad is also, I think, and this is my interpretation, I could be completely wrong, but I think in India, especially people around me, they were actually trying to get married like in their late 20s, and so arranged marriages and everything. So you have not dated enough people, you've not met enough people, you don't really know at that tender age what you really want. At least I did not know what I really wanted at 21, or the kind of men I really wanted to date and marry. Absolutely no, not today. And but in the Western world, they date millions of people, they have sex with millions of people before they zero down on one person. And I'm not even kidding, I'm on dating apps. When I was in Bombay, Shobha, more than 50% of men were married on the dating apps in Bombay.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
In London, I haven't met till date one man who is married and lying about that. If they're in an open marriage, they would write, I'm in an open marriage. But
You're right.
there's no hiding away or lying to your partner, to the girl you want to get into
I know
bed with.
what you mean. That's intrinsically so dishonest. It's cheating, and it's
Absolutely. I know
no,
people
it's
in
horrible.
Bombay, a lot of people, I don't want to say my friends or boss or whatever, they literally download Tinder when they leave home. They delete Tinder when they come back home, even Bumble, even Hinge. And they're
Yeah,
so proud of that. Like, oh,
yeah,
but I
it's a
come back
reality.
to
It is the reality.
my
But women are doing it too. It's not just the guys.
but they are sleeping around with women, right? So of course,
Yeah, but what I mean is there are married women
yeah.
in marriages uh, which may be not satisfying to them, and who are on Tinder, who are on Bumble. And like one of the memes I read recently said, a guy is saying this, and he said, "Oh, good, the hot moms are back in the market. School starts tomorrow, so between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., guys, this is your chance."
Are you serious?
And was seriously, and was not far off the mark. That is the reality, and that cheating wives, cheating husbands, uh, is not an invention of 2025. It has existed. It's just that dating apps didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
They had other ways and other means of uh, finding partners to cheat on.
Yeah.
It's kind of depressing, but it's also part of what the world is going through, because relationships are being realigned,
Yeah.
redefined, and a lot of it has to do with what actually women want for themselves, uh, impacting the marriage or a steady relationship. Women are much more experimental today, sexually too, are able to do that in big cities, and it's almost accepted
Yeah.
that you're not going to be marrying a virgin of 30.
Yeah.
That's a given.
True.
So it wasn't so earlier, right? A girl who was open about having relationships and of
Mm.
not stating quite openly in a relationship which is arranged that she is not a virgin would be on the spot, uh, should be disqualified right there and then. But also in a very patriarchal society that we live in. Actually, the world is patriarchal, it's not just India.
Yeah.
Men and women and their moral standards, their approach to love, lovemaking, sex, marriage, uh, definitely there are different sets of rules. And women in the West are not better off. I don't think so at all.
No.
They're far more neurotic, far more insecure. By the time they're 20, and if they haven't had at least 5 boyfriends, they feel there's something physically wrong with them. They're not attractive enough. And all the cosmetic procedures that you see now, which are so popular with the young, a lot of it comes from the West. The
Mm.
obsession with perfect skin, perfect eyes, perfect hair, perfect body. But at the end of it all, the obsession is only about getting a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The American women are perhaps the most insecure, neurotic women I've ever come across at whichever age. They're
Really.
always just looking for a guy. Like the life begins and ends. The search begins and ends with finding a guy.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
find it so demeaning that women in this day and age should value themselves only against that one index. Are you with a man or are you not? But that's
Mm. That's such an insecure element of a human being, right? Because
yeah,
if your validation comes from another man, because if he looks at you, you feel attractive. When you look into
yeah,
your mirror and you don't feel that way, it's so sad. And
it is.
you're absolutely right. I think I have like a lot of people around me, and not of non-Indian friends. In London, I don't have many Indian friends, and most of them, when I talk about my love life, and they're so bizarrely shocked because I have a friend. She has 16 years old daughter, and she's complaining her almost every single day that, Mom, I don't have a boyfriend. And I was like, if my parents would come to know at 16, they would have
I
slapped.
know, but it's. I thought the 16-year-old was asking her mom, "Why don't you go out and get yourself a boyfriend?" Because that's happening a lot.
True, true. But mom has a husband, so so she
Yeah,
doesn't need to. But yeah, I know so many couples, and without an iota of doubt, more than women, men have come and told me that I've not even slept with my wife for last 5 years, 3 years. We've not
yeah,
had any sex, and I'm like,
yeah,
then why are you in a relationship? And then they're
yeah,
or marriage, and they're like, because it's comfortable, because there are children, and she's not financially independent.
yeah.
So, and socially, I'm so comfortable with her, then I don't want to live a lonely life. So,
Absolutely. Loneliness is the biggest reason why people are getting married, because they figured that the sort of drifting around looking for the perfect partner, the idyllic relationship is a distant fantasy. So rather compromise, and as Seema Auntie on that Netflix would say, adjust and compromise,
yeah,
rather than come back to a lonely existence in a home. You open the door, walk into a dark home. There's no one to greet you. There's no one who's cooked something for you. There's no one waiting for you. I think that can be a huge killer.
yeah,
Whereas opting for a partner who's understanding, maybe even with any luck, loving, is an attractive option. Even if you're not actively lovers or love with one another, it's still
yeah.
better
You're
than an
just
empty.
friends. Yeah, just friends living together.
And there's trust. So we're doing rapid fire now before I fade.
Yes. And we'll do rapid fire, but before I move on to the rapid fire, just last question. What is a one piece of advice you would like to give it to every woman who is actually listening today about your courage and the way you've led your life?
I feel almost embarrassed to be giving advice to women, other women. Their lives are their lives, my life has been my life. And it's kind of arrogant and it's uh, almost supercilious to say, oh, if I can do it, you can do it. It doesn't work like that. So I to search for your own voice within yourself, the voice you hear before you go to bed at night, without any filters, where you're naked with yourself. Uh, that is the voice you should trust. All women should learn to tune into that. And that is your best guide. Your most important and most truthful critic is you, yourself. The standards you set are your own. And that there should be no compromise on. And hopefully the support systems that you depend on will encourage you to be that individual who has that level of faith in her choices. The word choice is very important. The choices you make are what define you your entire life.
True.
And if no one to back your choices, remember you have yourself to back your own choices always. And if you do sometimes stumble and fall, that's also part of learning. But that shouldn't swamp you and and rob you of your self-confidence. Sometimes it takes you almost a decade to get back onto that winning track or to get back that old self, the woman who said, I can do anything and at least tried to do something.
Yeah.
But a woman who starts off by saying, I can do nothing because I'm nothing, chances are she'll stay there all her life, just,
True.
just feeling sorry for herself. And the idea of women as doormats or as victims and martyrs has always been abhorrent to me. I believe every single woman has the potential to get the best out of herself and help herself to realize that because no one else is going to do it for you. So find that strength because we all have it. Every single woman possesses.
Love that. Love that. On that note, I'm going to shift into the rapid fire. Just whatever comes to your mind, just bring it on. Which
Okay.
is which character from your own book do you secretly wish it would be you?
Definitely, I would think Karuna from the very first book, Socialite Evenings, because the first book is always, in a way, self-revelatory. But Karuna's choices were not my choices. And my energy server is saying we should really be rapid with this before we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If your life were a novel, what would your title be?
An architect, because I like the idea of building something which can be shared maybe through centuries if you're a good enough architect.
Okay. How do you decompress or recharge yourself?
With Negronis, and it's a favorite cocktail of mine.
Okay.
Listening to great music, but I would say essentially uh, in stimulating company, I find that the best stress buster. You don't always find it or get it, but I'm lucky to be married to a man whose company I enjoy. So Negronis and Dilip Day's undivided attention while we sip our cocktails is
Yeah.
my stress buster.
Lethal combination. What's one thing people misunderstand most about you?
I think they think of me as a dragon lady, but I'm actually a pussycat. I'm quite reticent and non-threatening and hardly, I don't really bear my talons or attack anyone. My words are powerful, they'll remain powerful, but in communications which are straightforward like the one we're having, I could be your friendly grandmother down the road.
Your biggest pet peeve.
Pet peeve, backpacks, I hate them. People who carry backpacks are selfish, unreasonable, and oblivious of the inconvenience they're causing to others in elevators, in tube stations, everywhere in the office.
What's one question you've never been asked but someone should ask you?
whether I enjoy a good laugh and what would make me laugh uproariously. I like a sense of the ridiculous a lot, but people don't always sense it. I'm always sort of half present and half looking at something in a satirical way.
A book or a movie you wish you written or created?
Tender is the Night remains my most favorite book, written by my most favorite author, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Beautiful book, beautiful movie. I mean, what's there not to like about Fitzgerald?
Okay. If you meet a 16 years old Shobha today, or I may say Anuradha today, what would you advise her or what would you tell her?
I would say to go take those risks, even bigger risks. I took quite a few at 16, but when I look back, maybe they weren't daring enough. I would say just go out and kill it.
Okay. What's one subject you've never written but you would love to explore?
Astronomy, because stars fascinate me. It's just such a huge, vast universe out there. We're just not even a tiny, tiny, tiny speck of anything. Astronomy would teach, if all of us took an interest in it, teach us humility for one, and we would it would give us perspectives about ourselves and our complete and total lack of importance in the bigger scheme of life. Who are we?
True, true. Nothing is in our control. Whatever is happening, it's out of our control. The best piece of advice you've ever received?
Go out there, get a job, earn your own money.
Your daily self-care routine apart from journaling?
Need to repeat that?
Your
My daily self-care
self-care
routine.
routine. Yes.
Pond's cold cream, definitely. And weekly or bi-weekly coconut oil hair massage.
Okay. When your
And face
life,
oils. I've just discovered face oils. I'm quite face oils and serums for the face, the
okay,
skin,
okay. I thought that face
nothing.
oil you just apply like a
Oil.
coconut oil or something.
No, 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 no. They're beautiful. You're getting a lot of Ayurvedic products which are absolutely aromatic and lovely.
Okay, okay. When the last chapter of your life is getting written, what should be the last line?
She never stopped dancing.
Oh my God, I love that.
Or no past tense in her life, no full stops either.
Oh my God, I got goosebumps. Which has been the sharper weapon in your life, your wit or your will?
I think the combination,
Okay.
kind of, pretty awesome.
Ultimate dinner guest, living or dead?
Oh, the Russian strongman, Putin. I have a huge, huge crush on him.
Really?
There's nothing about him that I find unattractive. His
Oh my God.
physicality, his brain, the power he exudes, his ruthlessness, those steely, icy blue eyes, his bared chest, his fighting tigers, whatever he does, I'm fascinated.
Oh my God. I didn't expect that. If you had one superpower, what for a day, what would it be?
Superpower, honestly, I would eliminate disease and suffering, because
Okay.
just especially
Healing. Yeah, healing.
disease and suffering.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. If there was a movie made on Shobha Day, what should be the title be and who you want someone to play you?
Well, it should be called Insatiable, because that's really who I am. That's how I lived my life. My last book, the title of that was Insatiable. I like Tamanna Bhatia a lot. I like Tripti Dingle a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
like Kangana Ranaut a lot. So any of these three ladies, Priyanka Chopra, of course, but then she's yeah, her personality is so overwhelming.
That's true. That's true. Three women who inspire you the most.
Indira Gandhi, definitely. Madonna, 100%. And, and right now, Banu Mushtaq, the Booker Prize winner.
Okay. And what does success mean to you?
That's the toughest questions. I've never had a smart answer for that. I'd say, I don't know. It's I don't know, it means taking responsibility for every little action of your life and not owning up to everything about yourself, and being able to say no and walk away from whichever offer comes because it doesn't fit in with your belief systems. The power of no is success.
Wow. And last but not least, your favorite Elvis Presley song.
Teddy Bear, because that was him. I found him always so vulnerable, so tender, so gentle, so adorable, just like a teddy bear.
I don't know if you remember this. I went to one of the museums and I saw that picture and I sent it to you in one of your DMs. I'm not sure if you had seen it. But on that note, I'm going to end this. So, Shobhaa, thank you so much for fabulously fearless conversation. I had a blast.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it very, very much. You've done a great job.
You have shown us that, being true force what really means. And honestly, speaking to you across the Zoom, it is my pinch me moment. So thank you for being who you are, bold, witty, apologetic. And if I can be like a fraction of you,
you are. Maybe more.
Thank you.
Into 1,000. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. And to everyone who is listening today, as Shobhaa writes in Selective Memory, reinvention is the name of the game. If you stop, you stagnate. So reinvent, reimagine, and reclaim your story at any page, any age, and even when no one is watching, or worse, when everyone is judging. Because you are the heroine of your own bestseller. You're not a supporting role in someone else's story. So rewrite your script at any point in time. You can actually do that, because this is not just a podcast. It's a 2 a.m. call. It's a global sisterhood. It's a reminder that you are not a background music. You are the headline. So keep shining, keep shaking things up, and above all, stay fearless, stay powerful, and stay unapologetically you. Until next time, thank you.
Thank you for listening to You Are a Force. Hit subscribe and join us next week for more powerful stories from women rewriting the rules. Until then, keep building, keep leading, and remember, you are a force.